I'm Rick Shirtliff from Clickitat County, Goldendale, Washington. And today is my granddaughter's birthday, and I want Amanda to have a great day today. She's in 3rd grade. My granddaughter Mavis just started kindergarten from home. We need our kids back in school. I'm running for school board of Goldendale, Washington, starting in May. I'm going to get registered so that we can have our children where they belong, have them be able to learn what they need to learn, and get all of the right people in the right places with good conservative values and family values, and bring our kids up to love America, to be free citizens, to be free thinkers, and to be able to make choices for themselves. Governor Inslee, take off your mask!
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've been so patient today. I've got one more person who would like to come up and speak for 2 minutes. Do we have 2 minutes to give her? Yes! Yeah. All right. She's with the People's Rights Organization.
Well, actually, that's what got me started. 6 years ago, my son, Cleve Ringo, was taken to court for home birthing twins. At the time, he had a child that wasn't quite 1 year old. That child's name is Unity.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I didn't realize we were still live. My bad.
I want everybody to know is a child. President Trump, in his Mount Rushmore speech 39 minutes in, said, "We will find unity like no one expected." And when he said that, God opened up the gate to the swamp in the state of Washington for corrupt CPS. And I'm telling you right now, Supreme Court judges in Whatcom County and all through the state and America, and the public defenders, the commissioners, all judges in my son's specific case were corrupt. And God blessed me with an unredacted police report to show it and prove it. I can't get my word out because my son is absolutely quashed, and we want all American children that want to come back home out of the CPS swamp to come back home. We want unity to make the charge on that. He's my 7-year-old grandson that I haven't seen for 4 years, and I want him home now with his 4 siblings. Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Melanie Gabriel, can you come on up? We're going to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Melanie. You want to go ahead and introduce who you are to this crowd here?
Hello everyone, my name is Melanie Gabriel. I am 13 years old and in the 8th grade. I've been fighting to open schools. I've been fighting to open schools for almost a year, probably about a year now. It has been a long, hard fight, and I'm not going to give up until we have full 5 days in school. Alright. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Get him.
And we're going to hear more from Melanie in just a little bit. Thanks so much, Melanie. Okay, now we have a special treat today. My good friend of how long, Carrie? Oh my gosh. We'll give away our ages here. She has an amazing voice, and she's going to lead us with the national anthem a cappella, right? All right, fantastic. Take it away.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
No, excuse me. Was that not
Yeah,
fantastic?
we're out in Olympia, Washington right now.
All right. All right. So, oh my gosh, I'm up now. All right. So, you know, this event, I got a kind of a late notice.
Cindy, you guys have your schools open since
I got a heads
August,
up
huh?
that,
Dang.
you know, we might have some trouble. And so I took that kind of seriously. But I want to share with you a verse that came to mind. Now, mind you, I don't care what your spiritual persuasion is. I happen to think that the Bible has some good advice to anyone. And it was, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7. And so frankly, that's why we didn't cancel this event today, and that's why we're out here today. So with that, I wanted to kind of explain, first of all, what we are not, and then what we are. Well, what we are not is a right-wing group. What we are not is a racist group. What we are not is a hateful group. What we are not is any of those labels that they try to pin on us. What we are Americans who care about our neighbors, who care about our friends, who care about our families, our children, and who actually care about those who would oppose us and try to censor us. So, am I right there? Yes. Am I right? Yes. Okay. And another thing that we're not is that we're not particularly anti-government. We're not anarchists, nor are we socialists and pro-government. I'd like to read a quote from Henry David Thoreau, because I think this kind of explains what we are. But to speak practically and as a citizen, unlike those who call themselves no government men, I ask for not at once no government, but at once for a better government. Let every man or woman make known what kind of government would command his respect, and then that will be one step toward obtaining it. Are we in agreement with this? Yes, we are. Fantastic. Well, then I think we're also in agreement with the idea that liberty is essential. And I think that's another reason why we're out here today. Let me remind you that America declared and fought a war once for independence from tyranny of a king. And lest you forget, or lest you did not learn this in your 8th grade civics class, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers of the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Can anybody tell me what document that came from? Declaration of Independence. Oh, thank you. You get a gold star, Carrie. It seems time once again to declare our independence. We are being demanded to trade freedom for security. Never. But another founding father once said those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost our way. Apathy and complacency are enemies of justice and freedom. And Americans have been apathetic and complacent for far, far too long. We have allowed every system and institution in our country to become fatally corrupted. And what I see today or what we see today, I should say, is a consequence of that corruption, and frankly, by extension, a consequence of our apathy and complacency. Our schools, our courts, and our political institutions are all in a state of morbid decay and plunder. Am I exaggerating here, ladies and gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Again, this is a
No, I don't think so.
couple different rallies that came together today. We're talking
What
about the
we are
opening of
witnessing
schools.
today is a controlled demolition of the middle class, and by extension, the poor as well. I would call
the
it
overall
a wealth
lockdown as a whole.
redistribution, wealth, power, property redistribution, which frankly started, well, actually it didn't start 10 years ago, it started a long time ago, but the recession, kind of accelerated things. Small businesses are the economic engine of our country and our state. They employ, back when I was running for office, they employ approximately 53% or 54% of the workforce was employed by small businesses. COVID has been weaponized against these same small businesses, against our communities, against our churches, against our families, and frankly, against our most prized asset. What is that? Our children. Do I hear agreement? I just had to check to see if you're awake out there. In Washington, more of our children have died as a consequence of COVID restrictions, as Melanie will describe in a few minutes, than from COVID itself. COVID has been a catalyst to not only destroying and redistributing our wealth, it's also been used as a reason to redistribute our power from the individual to the collective. But it's all to save us, right? Our freedoms to assemble, work, educate, worship, and move about freely have all been stripped from us. I've got to make a little point here. I have to say today that the Capitol Security came and talked to me. I have to give a hat tip to them. We're out here today. They allowed us, but we got to have our PA system. The gentleman that spoke with us said that he believes strongly in freedom of speech, so here we are today. So, there are some people working over there that aren't so bad. So, even our freedom to share information or challenge these directives has been virtually stripped from us. As we heard earlier today, even promoting this event the other day, who else has gotten one of these? The fact checkers have determined, I'm paraphrasing, that whatever you're sharing, who the heck are these faceless fact checkers? Who the heck are they? But anyway, you'll get one of the little fact check things. So they're stripping of us of our ability to even communicate information. COVID has also been used to divide us against one another. Now I happen to think, you're not gonna believe this, but you know how I got my political start? I grew up.
So again, guys, when people are giving speeches like this, I tend to just shut up and let them speak. So I'm just keeping things stationary so we can kind of listen to the speakers right now.
But I was a Southern Baptist Republican. And then in about 2009, 2010, I had a colleague. And it was the start of the recession. And I found myself, you're going to gasp at this, rubbing elbows with folks on the left down in Seattle with Occupy. And you know something? Some of what I heard them say was the same stuff I heard around my kitchen table when talking to my family and my friends. And I remember my son at the time, he was 4 years old, and I took him with him, poor little guy, he's 13 now, had a sign. This is not a left or a right issue. This is a corruption issue. Ladies and gentlemen, they are working to divide us. It's intentional. So keep that in mind. line when you're talking to folks that you believe are the quote-unquote opposition or your enemy. We are Americans. We are not enemies of each other. These kids, and I'll call them kids, I'm 50 years old, I have that license. These kids who are putting on the black stuff and marching, do you realize that their parents lost everything in the recession? A lot of times. Their parents lost their homes, their equity. These kids found themselves saddled with student debt. They are angry. And the media and the powers that be want to divide us amongst each other so that we don't pay attention to what's going on behind the veil. So ladies and gentlemen, you know this truth. So when you interact with these guys, remember to speak the truth in love. Let me continue with my speech. I don't know, I got amped up there. COVID has been used to divide us. I had my own moment of fear. I'm generally a pretty courageous person, actually, and was called into politics back in 2009. But in February of this last year, COVID hit my community. I happen to be from Kirkland. It hit the long-term care facility in my community. And I'll have to tell you, immediately I was gripped by fear. I mean, some of you might have known me. I'm pretty vocal on Facebook. I was saying, hey guys, don't go to church. There's something going on here. I was pretty freaked out. And then after about 2 months, I kind of started watching the data and I started, researching this a little more. And then my husband and I, in about May, we decided, something doesn't seem right. We're going to travel the country. And we did. We traveled the country, 20 states, 5 major cities. And we realized, things just didn't match up. So I understand the idea of being gripped by this fear. And fear sometimes makes you angry and it makes you irrational. It makes you do things that maybe you wouldn't generally do. So I think we have to be sympathetic to that. But the truth, it's been said that the truth shall set you free. Frankly, during that 2 months, that was the most miserable time I've had in 10 years. I mean, because, like I say, I got called into politics. I've been I've been fearless. And I was struck with this fear. I was paralyzed. I was quiet. Carrie, I was quiet on Facebook, wasn't I? I wasn't seeing my kids. Because I was fearful. That's how a lot of these folks are. But the truth of the situation was revealed to me. And it snapped me out of my depression and my despair. So ladies and gentlemen, please be patient with some of these folks. They are legitimately fearful. And the reality is, with this COVID, it's so unpredictable. We don't really understand. So the fact that when you're dealing with something you don't understand, and particularly when you have media fanning the flames of fear and what I would call monetized hysteria, that's what's going on here. So we need to speak the truth in love, with patience, find common ground. We are Americans. This is our country. And we need to have that sort of humbleness, if you will. Ladies and gentlemen, as Thomas Jefferson once said, the earth belongs to the living. We must rise up and live. Do I hear rise up and live? Rise up and live! Wherever the darkness of lies, destruction, and death creep in to conquer and destroy, we must courageously charge forward, united with the torch of freedom, casting light of truth and love wherever we go, because we are the patriots of a new age. And God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and wisdom. We must push back upon those who would turn us into subjects of a totalitarian New World Order and initiate the Great Reset, as it has recently been called. Today is the day we rise up Washington. We rise up Washington off her knees. Make no mistake, there is a war going on. It's a war for the heart and soul of our great nation, and I happen to think Washington State is a battleground state. The war is between those who would sow lies, destruction, hate, death, and the people deceived by them, and those standing for liberty, truth, love, and life. And frankly, it's not hard to see. No longer will we passively comply with mandates and edicts that are stripping us of our right to life, liberty, and happiness, and are killing the human spirit and our soul. No. Today we pledge to restore liberty and take back our institutions and our state. We are united. We stand firm against the deception and the oppression. The most powerful weapon we have in this fight to take back our state is our Constitution. Both our U.S. and our state.
So they're having like a little debate over here that I wanted to catch.
And other journeys as well. I just happen to be a libertarian.
I walked by to grab my coffee out of the car, and I saw these guys over here having a convo.
Support them with your time and your money.
I want to see what they got to say to each other. I think they're talking about Second Amendment stuff.
Primetime Patriot on YouTube. We all have footage of all these guys sitting there doing this. It's real coverage. It's live stream. We're sitting there like this going, boom, this is what happened.
Have you asked them what the mandate is that prevents them from doing something like that? Because
they don't have enough.
Presented like that, it sounds kind of insane.
It's insane. It's 100% insane. Okay. And that's why I always wear a bullshit.
But can you see why I'm like, I can't believe that that's actually true?
Because they don't have enough. They don't have enough officers to do anything for their own sake.
Right now, everything that they're building around you, it's all fucking lies. It's all facade. When you finally wake up,
this is what's annoying about this whole thing. When like we're divided like this, you and I agree on all this shit. We agree on 93% of all this stuff, but then it's the presentation that's fucking insane.
Right?
It is insane. We shouldn't live in this country.
Because I've had people from Seattle come all the way down there to Portland to try to come and kill me. Like fucking, like yeah, no. I've seen
we've all had incidents. I've been held at gunpoint. I had a knife to my stomach, right? It doesn't mean that I walk around armed all the time and live in fear constantly. It's
I'm gonna slide in here. I got the wide angle going for you guys here.
Like I am not in any fear
because you need the equipment to feel that way, though. Man.
No, even with all this shit gone. But no, I came down to support everybody who's having their Second Amendment, wearing a plate carrier just in case.
No, she's doing real work.
And everything's all
the people that are up there trying to deliver a message, they're doing real work. You're trying to intimidate people. There's a difference.
Who am I trying to intimidate? Unless you're a communist, I'm not trying to.
I mean, this keeps Antifa away from attacking us, really. I mean, if you want to talk some stupid shit.
Right now, that is your First Amendment. It's no different with them holding the Second Amendment. It's not childish. It's appropriate. You have the right. No, you have the right to say what you want. These men have the right to say what they want. They're just doing it without opening their mouth, which is what a lot of people on the left need to learn how to do: is shut their mouth.
It's a polite society. That's the difference.
What about this is a polite society? Tell me where. When your government tossed you all away 50 fucking years ago. When did this was? When has this been a polite society?
When what?
When your government threw you off the ship 50 years ago.
We agree, man. We agree. Like there's
nothing polite about any of this anymore. Like, there's so much work you have to do to rebuild.
That's why it's so mad at me because like you guys get angry at the left and the left gets angry at the right. But like we have the same enemies. We have common enemies.
Yeah, no,
but like people can't fucking come together. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
No, because your presentation is shit.
Oh, if you're gonna be fucking afraid of plate carrier and a gun.
Are we? I gotta ask, man. Are you talking collectively? Can I ask you real fast? Collectively, are you talking the presentation as a whole for people's feelings? I got water for you if you need some, man. I got you. But we'd have to share something. I don't know if you're cool with that this day and age.
Nah, I can't do it.
All right, I feel it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like the presentation as a whole for people that are trying to get a message heard, right? You got the left that are out last night. Did you see what's going on in Portland?
Yeah.
They were protesting against ICE, but their march ended up smashing out windows on all these public buildings to get their message heard.
Same thing here last night.
And things have gotten violent on both sides. You could agree on that, right?
That are just trying to take advantage.
Well, that's the problem. Who knows? It's the group to hold themselves to a higher level of accountability, right?
Look at
that, man.
Thanks, man.
But in these situations, we can agree that what we've seen in the last year has been an evolution of danger, right? In these situations, people have gotten hurt, people have gotten killed. We were out in Kenosha, we saw that happen. People died, right? At the end of the day, it's a dangerous world we live in, right? And you see people getting attacked. In these situations,
where you see it,
in these situations, man, you have to agree that like out in these protests, man, like it's gotten dangerous. People have been attacked. Every time I turn on a live stream, many of these people can tell you flat out they've been attacked in the streets for just being there filming, showcasing what's happening. So just to be clear,
I'm not going to defend.
I'm talking about why you see a lot of people that are carrying weapons and are protecting themselves because there's definitely fear for your mortality. People are afraid right now that there's people that are going to come in, instigators or not, that are going to do things to cause harm to people.
Fear, and B, by doing these things, we're ratcheting up. We're raising the temperature by bringing guns to this shit.
Well, it's a stalemate though, you know what I mean?
I have a 13-year-old over here who is going to talk soon, and she appreciates every single one of these men when she is at a rally.
That's fine because she lives in fear, but people that don't live in fear don't carry on weapons.
The question is,
It's an equalizer.
but when does it become a rational fear? When people have come to my house, people have assaulted me, people have thrown bricks at me, people have...
Yeah, guys, I'm asking questions here. These are legitimate questions. I want to know what his beliefs are, and I want to know what what everyone else's beliefs are. Sorry, I want to make sure you see who we're talking about
That's
here.
the question. When does it become
We're talking about, these folks and they're carrying guns. He doesn't agree with it.
My daughter is 27. She was attacked.
He called him on
So
YouTube.
when for you does it become rational? When 2 knives get pulled on you, 3 knives get pulled on you, 4 knives get pulled on you? At what point
We've
does it
all been
become
in
a
danger.
rational fear?
Like in Seattle, I got knife in my stomach, right? I was in Poland, I was in Russia. Things have happened to me before, right? But like, it doesn't. We can be angry at the government, we can be angry at institutions. We can't be angry at each other individually, right? I've had heinous shit happen to me. I still trust my fellow man, right? We have to. There's no other way to go on. When I start bringing tanks to the whatevers, it just makes me. I'm ratcheting up the temperature on an argument.
So you would rather us run around with bricks and balls of paint?
Where's the tanks at?
No, but you could, right? Like that's the thing. Is like, where do you want to stop, right? Like, do you want to bring
Well, when someone
like
pulls
an
a
Abrams
brick out on
thing
me,
and be
I'm
like,
gonna
I'm
pull a gun
protecting
out
my
and tell them to
people?
back the fuck up.
But I
so
mean,
don't have to
let me ask you real fast.
Of force at that point.
I've seen takes brought out by the police though. Like they're Bearcats and Super Cats. Like I've been there.
We militarize the police and it's fucking ridiculous.
Right. Okay. So you can appreciate that, like when you see that excessive amount of like artillery and force, like at some point, when do you not say, hey man, we have no need for you to go ahead and buy tanks to enforce laws on the people for the people. Like sometimes it's the people that are saying, hey man, we're good on our own, we got this.
Yeah.
But the same reason they have invested $450 million in Seattle into their police fund, right? Like you'd imagine
it's outrageous.
people on their own that have a 13-year-old living at
what I'm
home might
saying.
say, hey
Like, so
man,
much
like we need to
agreement.
protect
It's like
our own though, you know what I mean? So, and that's the individual. Some people feel more comfortable walking the streets without protection, you know what I mean? Like though I've seen a flip-flop used in a Samoan home as a dangerous weapon. I'm gonna say that right now. I've seen it used. But I can tell you right now, man, it's different for everybody. Like some people feel strongly about the fact that I've been stabbed multiple times. On 2 different occasions, I've got 11 stab wounds total. But so I wear stab vests because I don't want to have surgeries that are potentially life-threatening anymore. And it was in no effect of my own. But at the end of the day, I couldn't do anything about it. But I don't want to be in a situation moving forward where I might need that. And it'd be like, oh no, I didn't bring my protection. You know what I mean?
But it's such a rare, like, I don't know. Like, I would rather be able to like just kind of live freely and move, like, like forget the top level institutional stuff. We're talking about like maybe stuff, right? I'm saying that like I would rather just like trust each of them like on the face of it individually. But then when I see this, then I don't. It's not that I can't trust them because I think they're trying to exercise their rights. I think that they're coming looking for shit to happen, right?
Yeah,
because
who knows, man?
I think that they're like, let's do this shit, right?
Well, so I think a lot of people are fed up. Yeah, some people are fed up and they're kind of like, yeah, I get that. I see what you're saying though, yeah.
Why feed into that? Like, why even encourage that shit, right? It's like I'm not. I don't know.
The old adage is better need it and have it, not need it, than need it, not have it type situation. Where
I don't know.
I don't want to get
described to anything like that. Like I don't know.
I wear.
Yeah,
My thing
keep
is,
it for a rainy day.
It's so intimidating, then like you wouldn't have easily been able to approach them because like when I watch,
it's not about intimidation.
But when I would watch them on TV,
Say it was intimidation.
You were saying that I was super things would have me look at this whole line of white.
You do have a presence about you, bud.
You
do have a glow about you. That's
well, let me go out here and see myself.
Sorry.
I'm just saying.
I promise you, I'm not this is the first sunlight we've seen in forever. Stop talking about people's glow.
Stop. We got.
Okay, so I'm coming out here and support, but it's never been, I don't like to follow the perception of what media somebody else is playing because people make it look like something, and you never know somebody's story. That's like let's say if my home was being attacked or I was constantly what gives you that right to prejudge me without knowing my story? That's the problem. No, everybody don't know each other's story, and we're always constantly prejudging each other based on our.
I mean, it might be a caricature, but I feel like when I see people coming looking like they're going to the paintball range, I feel like I have a pretty good idea what their story is.
I just want to know what paintball range you go to, where like somebody's dressed in this.
Every time I go to the paintball range, I have 12-year-olds in paintball, so I just avoid them. They rough me up. They're too good.
I'm wearing about $2,000 worth of gear, and you know what? I go to work in this every single day in Portland. We have over $249 million budget for our law enforcement, and we don't get fucking jack shit. I have to wait 2 hours for officers to show up for people fucking freaking out, being all drugged up, OD, all this other crazy shit. 2 fucking hours. So I wear all this gear.
So again, guys, I'm asking questions because I want to hear what people have to say, but I definitely have some feelings about like what they're talking about because it's a dangerous place. You know, the world's it's sad, but it is.
They stop me at my job. They post up their little Nazi stickers at my work and shit. Like fucking, I have so much other shit that I have to make sure that I'm alive for, to make sure that my family's safe and my future generations are safe.
So what have you done? Okay.
As soon as people start talking,
He's a big teddy bear.
So, but like my vest has saved my life multiple times. So I wore my vest for safety. I didn't wear my vest today because there's guns everywhere. Like I feel pretty safe. I mean,
I got you safe.
Well, I'm glad you do.
So, but it's like, but if
Why
all
do
these
you
guys
trust?
were
Why do
here-
you trust just random people with guns though?
Like, it's that demeanor. I think that's what it comes down to. Like it's that presence. You know.
Okay. 99% of gun crime that happens in this country are not done by law-abiding citizens.
Sure, fine.
The screen is black,
so
y'all.
if you have a whole bunch of people out here open carrying,
Let me see if I can fix that.
Because you're not gonna
Is it
find,
still
you're not gonna
messed up?
find somebody who's
You
gonna
can be
go.
law-abiding, but still be like have a bit of a trigger finger and a little bit of like you want some adrenaline,
You could,
right?
you could, but statistically, like the very first ever like shooting at a gun store happened like a week ago or a month ago, but it never happens.
really?
You never have a shooting at a Second Amendment rally. You've never had a shooting at the NRA. You've never had a shooting at places where law-abiding citizens are gathered with firearms. Like it has never happened.
Shoot your own.
Huh?
Shoot your own.
Well, yeah, but
That's what you just said. I think is a big deal, though. You're not going to shoot your own because what the thing is, I think we've missed the point is that we're representing all people. All people. Is our own is these are all American citizens right now here in America, and vice versa, anyone else as well. But they're all people, right?
Even though we're
And that
debating,
I think
we're
is
our
like.
own. Yeah, like that's we look at it. We're debating. We don't agree on everything, right? But you're still one of our own. Every single person here would defend you with their lives if something were to happen.
Well, I don't want you to, but thanks.
It's good because I'm hesitant.
That's the point.
We'll actually have your back because you're a human
No,
being.
there's
whereas
well,
they-
he was
You're not
using
knees down and hands up, you're gonna get attacked.
he was using like language that
Fuck that.
gives their lives, right?
There's
Like
only men and a woman.
I will defend you. I'm not going to put my life on the line for you. That's the difference, right? Like, and not nor should you for me. Like, that's too much, right? Like,
That's reasonable.
But a lot of us are
I think
It's reasonable. Even though we don't agree. Like, it's a
I don't think he's talking like burning building situation. I think that's like if two guys are gonna fisticuffs, he's like, I'm gonna step in front and take that bullet.
It's like I don't know you. Like
Right.
why would I die for you? Certain people are wired that way. Certain people aren't, and that's.
Do you carry?
That's what I mean. Right
You don't carry, huh? No.
there's no need for it.
Right. What happens when the day comes? Let's just say, heaven forbid, I would never wish anything upon you, ever.
I get you.
Ever, seriously. What happens when you are robbed at gunpoint?
I mean, I've been robbed, not at gunpoint, but at knife point a couple of times. I mean, it happens. But you just, I've had my business broken into, completely wiped out, and then gone, right? But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna like armor up the fucking place and get guns and stuff. It's just not.
But at what point? Would you just want to take a stand?
What's that?
At what point would you?
It's not about not taking a stand. It's about.
But it's not even about taking a stand. Like, at what point would you put bars on your windows? Like, if they broke into your place every
Sure,
day,
there's a difference between bars and being like I'm gonna turn it into like security like Fort fucking Knox, or I'm gonna hire some dudes to just like monitor outside.
I think you're coming down to level of protection, and really, I think commonly, like if you look at you right now, like you have a gun as a woman, like what's that whistle for around your neck?
this whistle.
Yeah, that's typically referred to as a rape whistle, though, right?
Yeah, this is my first line.
So, do you feel?
Got a chance to come first.
Do you feel safer having protection as a woman in the world? Do you feel like carrying a weapon keeps you safer?
Yeah.
Okay, even the whistle is something to allow people to know that there might be trouble happening.
Having a cell phone on you. You
And-
feel comfortable knowing you can That
Some people won't leave their
house
house out of cell phone, so it's a level of protection, I think. So like you said, bars are one thing, but like steel plating is another.
Right?
You know.
I'm not like
No, we
I
all
think
have
that
the right to protect ourselves.
That's
it's not
what's
about
great about
rights. We have a lot of rights to do a lot of insane
Look
shit
at all
that we
of our
want to.
politicians.
It's
They've
about
got security
like
all around them. They've hired their own security. They're doing what they're telling us not to do. They're telling us not to protect ourselves, but they're instead putting a wall up around themselves and blinding themselves with security.
the government, any government official, they don't go anywhere without security.
I don't know what's going on at your Capitol, but yeah.
You don't know what's going on at the Capitol?
I don't live here, man. But,
Okay, I'm talking about the national Capitol
the
right
national,
now.
yeah.
I mean, there's an 8-foot fence around it with armed militia around it.
Sure, because insanos busted in thinking they were gonna like put their
Yeah, but what's the
large
threat
saber
now?
back on
What's the
back on
threat now? That's the problem.
Well, hold on. Let's remember this. We are a republic and we are founded on God. One nation under God. I don't give a damn who you believe in, but this country is for God, and He is at the top, our Lord and our Savior.
Then let's not treat a game show host like he's God.
I know, get Biden the hell out of there. I mean, that government is fine.
You know what I meant when I said game show host.
Slid right past it.
All right, are we good? All right.
Where are you from, boss? Where are you from? Like,
I mean, I'm from the area, but I only come back occasionally.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I haven't been here in a while.
oh, okay. It's changed though, yeah. I mean, you can tell it's changed. Things are different now.
Yeah, I mean it's sad, man. Like I was up by Ensign and then like all that, and this over here.
Yeah.
It was like, come on through.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to begrudge these people for doing what they have to do.
Sure.
And stuff. But something's got to change at the top level so that shit like this,
Agreed.
you know, like won't happen because people will be able to do
What do you think is going to change it?
Yeah.
You're saying from the top level, so what do you think it's going to be? Because now we have Biden. People didn't want Trump. We have Biden. You think he's going to be able to change
Well,
it?
I don't know that he's not going to be able to do anything because, you know, like think of your life year after year after year after like, you know, Bush or Clinton, Bush, Obama, whatever. Your life has not materially changed like year after year because of who's in office, right?
Right.
You're kind of making your own change as far as stuff like that goes. So whatever. Like I think shit's calmer already. I mean, like we're not getting like insano tweets at 4 a.m. So like that's fine. I'll take that, right?
Yeah.
The thing of it is that people are scared about Biden. He's a feckless, ineffectual, just nothing, right? He's just a blank. So like he's not gonna turn us into some like
He signed
socialist
35
hellscape.
executive orders in the first 45 days of
He
office.
was reversing a lot of things that hadn't gone into effect that Trump did executive orders on. You and I are going to agree that executive orders are bad.
Yeah.
There's too many of them,
Yes.
right? Because
Yeah.
Congress has ceded their power and they're not doing anything any longer, and they've
Correct.
given all their power to
That's
the president.
dictatorial rule, is what it
This
is.
is what I'm saying earlier. You weren't here, but we're going to agree on way more shit than we're going to disagree on, right? But what we're agreeing on is like big picture shit is fucked type stuff, right? But like when you say like the executive orders and stuff like that, right? Like that's him doing those things is a response to Trump doing a bunch of shit, right? Doesn't matter who did it, doesn't matter who it was. But we can all agree that too many executive orders is a problem, right? And that the power that is like landed in the presidential seat is problematic, right?
Yeah.
That position should not have so much power. Congress is a bunch of fucking cowards for the last 40 years, and they've given away their power.
For sure, but Trump didn't rule by executive order, and that's one thing that you have to understand. Like, someone who...
We could get into the numbers that I don't know, and you probably don't either, right?
I do.
But
I do. He signed 8 in his first 45 days of office, and Biden signed 35.
Okay,
and,
I'm gonna believe you.
That's it's factual, and here's the problem.
But we agree.
We
We don't need to argue about the shit we agree about, man.
Well,
I think what you guys have right now is the best quote I've ever heard was we can agree on the disease and we can agree on the symptoms, but nobody seems to be able to agree on the cure, right?
That's what's
Like
maddening to me.
Can't figure it out.
we can't, but we're all looking at the same problem. It's just different tactics and procedures to get to
Well, I think some
the end
people
game.
disagree on that there is even a problem in the first place, right? Like when you have like she was saying something earlier about COVID being fake, or I'm distilling a little bit, but like there needs to be a level of agreement of what the problem is in the first place, right? So, but
what do you think the problem is? What do you generally? Because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of little problems. What do you think is like the main problem
Here's what
right
I
now?
think. Like I think that the left and the right, like the far left and the far right, could come together on the like populist left and right, could come together on this stuff if they could agree on who the enemy was. Right?
Yeah.
I think the enemy is big business and fucking rich assholes, right? And forgive me if I'm characterizing, but I think that the far right believes that it's immigrants or like some other kind of boogeyman problems that aren't really problems, right? Or that would solve them. So if we can, if the far right that voted for Biden, or sorry, that voted for Trump, right, could have, and forget the socialist shit for a second, right? If they could get behind Sanders, right? Not really a Sanders guy, but like there's a lot more overlap there than they want to agree on, or that they want to.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Generally, his policies weren't my policies, but they a lot of the things that he was talking about, Trump was talking about, and actually stole a couple
but he's
of things.
Coming at it from a place of like he actually gives a shit, right? And he's not just a self-aggrandizing narcissistic asshole. So like there's a difference. And
but isn't what's good for Trump good for all of us?
No, because he lives in a fucking mansion, man. He was handed a silver. He was born.
But he's done more for the middle class.
I want to live in a mansion.
Any other than any other.
I'm saying.
Any other.
Real talk. I'm saying. Who don't want to live in a mansion? I do.
No, you're good. You're good.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying, like, he's done more for the middle working class than any other president in history, besides maybe arguably FDR. Maybe.
Okay. So like I was saying earlier, like, what has fundamentally changed year after year after year in your life?
My parents actually made more money under Trump and had more money in their wallet. So did I, actually, too. My business made more money. I had less taxes.
I mean,
generally, I did better under Trump than I'm doing now.
We're all going to go through like ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
But like, who's there and the like, what's in place? It just doesn't. It's not. It just doesn't have a lot of material effect on it.
See, and I think that's why there's such a strong opposition between us right now, is because there was 80 million people that voted for Trump for a reason. There's a reason they voted for him, and it's not because he's, anti-immigration or a racist or a bigot or a meanie head or whatever we want to call him. I don't think that's why people voted for him. I think they voted for him because they saw a real candidate that was expecting to hold people accountable, and that's something that doesn't
You're
happen.
talking the second time, right? This is the most recent one.
I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about Trump as opposed to any other president. I mean, as far as in modern day history.
Sure.
I mean, if you're a business owner, you should know. I mean, you did better under those 4 years than probably
It didn't have anything to do with him.
since
The tax code had a lot to do with it.
yeah, and the stock market movement, and I mean the economy generally.
Because Obama took it away. We didn't have no living costs raised during Obama. Trump started that again, and we still have yet to catch up because it was the Congress wouldn't vote for that whole gap filling and stuff. But at least we started again, so it does make a difference. Yes, I got more back on taxes. I got more in my business, so it's like. You got to think too, the other politicians who took out what we the black community are good for, which is still labor. We had factories and things. That's when the black community we was in middle class, but they took that away. So now you got Trump bringing that back.
It's not the government taking. Okay, Trump came in and he said, "I'm going to bring all these jobs back from China and do all this stuff." Right? Trump can't bring those jobs back from China.
He did though. Statistically, he did.
I don't want to have a referendum on Trump. Man. I really
You
don't.
can go home and look this up, but he stopped that outsourcing and brought it back over here. So then instead of outsourcing to China more jobs for them to make our stuff, we started doing our own shit here.
Oh man, I don't want to pull up the numbers.
No, but it's basic economics.
That's what makes the argument.
Drop back down.
See, here's
Oh
the
my
problem.
God.
You guys are but you're blaming the government for letting the jobs go. The government's not the problem.
Who just shut down the pipeline?
The government's not
Who
saying.
just shut down the pipeline?
As a business owner, it doesn't make any sense for me to employ you for $23 an hour to do a thing when I can send it to India or China and have someone do it for $5 an hour.
That's an issue. That's an issue.
That's
Yes.
government.
That is an issue.
So you want the government to institute policies?
No, we want the government to take away the policies that they had.
That were restricting business. Exactly.
Like so.
It sounds like you want the government to restrict business.
No, we want them to lift them. That's the problem.
You
is
wouldn't have a
they're
fucking
making
job
more.
if the government lifted the restrictions. Like all of these jobs, all the call center stuff, all of the manufacturing, it all go over there. It already has, man. The reason that Pennsylvania, Ohio, all these states in this area or that area are all fucked is because the businesses were like, oh wait, you can just ship the jobs over here and we're going to make so much more
And why
money,
do you
right?
think that was,
When
though?
everybody does what's in their own best interest, then everybody's going to get fucked.
Why do you think our jobs are shipped to China?
What's that?
Because our jobs are shipped to China because of globalization. We can agree, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Because it makes sense for the companies to do it.
Taking advantage of a laborious industry, which is basically what happens in China. Like that's a labor industry. That's all China is. Okay. When you have that, when you don't have that equal ground, like between us and other countries, we get bought out. That's a problem, and that's something Trump addressed. That's like I almost feel like the I'm not calling you the left. I'm not calling you the left. I'm saying just in generally, I feel like the left doesn't understand that he actually did make a huge impact here, and it's not arguable, dude. It's statistically proven that he
But he did it simply. Like, we used to have the highest corporate tax code in the world. We had the highest corporate tax rate globally.
35%.
Nobody else is higher. He brought it down to 27% from 35. Okay, that's a big thing. And then secondly, though, he started charging tariffs. China was tariff free, but they charged us to send stuff over there, but we take China stuff. No big deal.
Do you understand how the tariffs work, though?
100%.
Okay, I'm not because people that say that the tariffs are a good thing, they're a bad thing because we end up paying for the tariffs in the end. Okay, so
depends on how you employ them.
Cards on the no because
it does. Because if there's other rules to go along with it, it makes a difference.
Games. My business, I make board games, right? This is my job. I produce board games and sell them all over.
That's
the
pretty
world.
cool.
Where do I make
cool.
them?
That is
really
pretty
unique.
Cool,
I make them in China.
It's unique, yeah.
Right? I have to make them in China,
Yeah.
and I'm on all these Facebook groups, and at least once a week somebody comes in like, I'm gonna make board games, and they're like, but I'm gonna be a patriot and I'm gonna make them in the United States, and they get 50 people saying, fuck it, like you don't even bother, right? Because you can't do it because you'd have to sell your game for $5,000 or some shit, right? Okay, so the tariffs go in, right? Now I get fucked because I gotta port my shit over here, right? Because I'm bringing it in from China, right? I'm not paying for that.
Exactly.
You pay for that.
Exactly.
No, that's
No,
why
I
it's
understand.
bad. That's
I
why the tariffs
understand.
are bad. Like you end up paying for it. No, but the Chinese aren't paying for it. The businesses
Do you know
aren't
what that
paying for it.
in turn does, though?
We are paying for it.
Do you know what happens when you hike tariffs? It requires that people stop doing business out of state. That's literally what those are for. It's so that when you're not able to do business anymore in China, you have to bring that back home. That was the idea of the tariffs in the first place.
No,
Do
because
you understand?
even with the tariffs, it's still more economical to do the stuff in China and to port it over and to ship it over, even with the astronomical shipping fees.
Not with the tariffs that Trump was doing.
Yeah, it still is because it doesn't. Because in that short period of time, I can't bring like if I outsource my manufacturing, but like a lot of companies, they do it in house or whatever, right? Like they would have to shut down their stuff, rebuild a thing, hire some people in Tennessee or wherever they want to do it, right? At Indiana, and then it's not economical. It's still more economical to keep the shit over in China and then pass the tariffs on.
Not if there's tax breaks to go with it as
I just
well.
want to say we
You are
are
paying tax breaks.
solely
But there's
paying
also
the
tax
whole
breaks for your business, and it
social
compiles.
justice part of this, where I just said the black community was middle class until those factories was taken. So now you're going to tell me that I'm supposed to be happy that China gets what we the black people, what they're marching down in these
I'm saying that we're angry at the wrong people.
What I'm just saying, you're saying about
the
tariffs, but you're arguing a point that's really
Let me drop the tariffs and then we raise the minimum wage.
But let me explain to you exactly how it works. Because simultaneously, as soon as Trump put those tariffs in place, we had corporations moving, I'm talking simultaneously moving to Vietnam and Thailand, which were having much better trade deals, which we're not going to have those tariffs. So it worked. So
what did it work? What did it do though? So just you're saying it worked as strictly an anti-China measure? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay, if that's your goal, then fine.
Yeah.
If the goal is to fuck China and you want to be explicit about that, then fine, right? But work, there's no work because so you move it to Thailand or wherever, and that's fine. And maybe things stay the same or the prices stay the same on Panasonic or whatever the fuck, right? But like it didn't do anything for the American people. It didn't accomplish anything. And at the worst, it made shit more expensive. That's what it did. But I had to raise my prices because of the tariffs.
See, you don't think that China's an economical threat to the United States?
Oh, we see. see, this is the. Yes, we can agree on these things. Like,
Right.
but come out with that thing. Like, so tell me that your goal was to fuck China, not our goal was to help the American producer, or whatever, right? Because it wasn't.
Right.
But that's the presentation. The presentation.
But in the long
we're helping
term,
the American
it
people.
was in the long term. It wasn't a short term deal.
It's not.
It will though. It will. I promise that it would. Yeah.
More long term.
No, because economists knew what was going to happen, and as a business owner, I knew what was going to happen, and it did.
So do you?
I passed it on
Okay.
to you.
Okay. So we'll live by your standards for a second. Do you think that we should continue outsourcing jobs and revenue and taxes and everything? Okay. So we should continue the way we're going, right? Well, here I have a point. So we should continue the way we're doing things, right? Before Trump.
I don't like the way that you're presenting the argument, but I'll roll with it.
Well, no, I want to hear what you have to say. I mean, like, what do you have a solution, or do you?
I mean, other than no, I don't think I think it's one of those horse out of the barn kind of things, and I don't think there's any real good solution except for going hard isolationist or something like that, right? Where like I don't think
like 1940s type shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's because as long as we are like, I mean, that old adage about like America is not a country, it's a corporation. I mean, it's true, right? I mean, we're run by the corporations, and
right now, yes, we are
doing what's in the best interest of the corporations, and as long as it's in the best interest of the corporations to have their banking offshore, have their manufacturing offshore, and incorporate in the Maldives or wherever the fuck, right? Like, then they're going to keep doing it because it's how they're going to make more money. Like we have one benchmark we have one way to tell whether someone or a person or a company in the world is winning, and it's money, right? There's no other way to we don't get any other value to any other like winning, right? So as long as money defines what we are, what this country is, the corporations are going to keep doing what they're doing, and unless you want to like get government really involved, which would be the only way to do it, so you're going to keep having this globalization. And so the people that are angry about globalization, that's fine. Like they can be mad that they lost their manufacturing job in Pennsylvania, and that's perfectly legit to be mad about it. But they're mad at the wrong thing. They're mad. They should be mad at the companies. Take something out of the companies instead of taking it out of the government. Or they can say, well, I don't think we're standing there about this. But on one side of the mouth, they're saying, government, get out of every place, get out of the corporation, and get out of my bedroom, and get out of the thing. But at the same time, they're saying, I want protectionists. I want you to institute these tariffs. And I want you to institute these things that will ostensibly help farmers in Kansas and fuck them and all this stupid stuff. So like which is it? Like they have to decide whether they want government to come in and say you need to keep all your shit in house, and unless you have such and such percentage of your company in the United States, you can't sell it in the United States. Or they say, fuck it, let's open the doors even wider and just embrace globalization. Because that horse is out of the barn.
Can we agree on something that government did have a huge hand in the corporate takeover?
Oh, they greased the skids for sure, right? But they were greasing the skids for hundreds of years, and eventually, occasionally, they have to come in and like put a little like polish on the thing and be like, no, wait, little guy, we're in it for you too. We're gonna help you guys, right? Meanwhile, like,
but shouldn't we hold them accountable as well? I mean, like, don't you think they're equally as responsible as billionaires?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, okay.
I mean, right?
Yes, except that's not the message that I'm hearing from. Right. What I'm hearing is the government.
I agree.
And then they say,
you have a lot of uneducated people on both sides, though.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, I mean, but just like Antifa wants to burn America to the ground, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean?
You cover everything.
You know what I mean? Like that. That's never going to happen. You know what I mean? Like we're never going to burn America to the fucking ground. Come on. I mean,
I'd be down for it.
Sure. No, totally. That's the thing. That's why I was interested in the conversation.
Government allowed all this shit to happen, and they throw some tougher shit at us occasionally to say like, oh, we're going to protect the food and business and stuff. But the problem that I have with the people on the right about this stuff is like they hold up.
say centralize the
They
anger.
hold up Jeff Bezos and other people
Yeah.
as like demigods.
I don't.
Right?
I don't. Fuck that. And I'm a right winger.
But they do because because they're just like he worked hard and got his.
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, just like you. What if your fucking business became $1 billion?
Well, it means
my mind is a little bit. I got like
you would be
that'd be great. But it meant that I was exploiting the labor of communist talk. I was exploiting the labor of the people below me, right, and not paying them well enough to. Okay, not if I got super rich, right? But also, like nobody gets to these levels in any kind of thing without being kind of a dick. Right? Like you have to be,
or having an exemplary idea that just excels beyond any human expectation.
You have to step on some skulls.
I mean, is Elon Musk a fucking? You know what I mean? Is he a bad billionaire?
I mean, I don't know.
You know what I mean, though? Like
kind of a weird douche, but
I mean, he's weird. He's a little weird, but he's a nerd. He's a tech nerd. I mean, they're gonna be weird. But you see what I'm saying? Like, they're not all. You know, like I generally think that like Elon Musk and his companies, like I really do think like they're working towards something different. But I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think you're right. Like to a certain extent, like the right definitely does hold government more accountable than corporations, and I think that's kind of where the far left and far right
lionize the corporations too hard. Is the problem? They just like, oh man, these guys.
Not that I have the power to that, but
they're as far as I can tell, they're the problem. Yeah, but you're right. It's hand in glove, right? I mean, no one, both government and
they're propping each other up.
So,
I think.
yeah, they're both.
I mean, the politicians get favors done by getting them paid for by lobbyists. So I mean, to a certain extent, you are right, and I mean, you know, maybe that's both sides' fault because I think that's something that the left upholds. Like, I guess we'll just use Antifa. Like they're holding businesses, you know, large corporations accountable.
Like they don't. Okay, Thanks, all
yeah.
right, guys.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys there.
No,
have fun.
Do I need to? Are you?
I just want to see where you stood. I kind of came in late.
No, we're just live, 100%.
That was just live.
It was just live.
All of us are live. Yeah, none of this is edited. This is 100% live, uncut.
True media. We don't cut it up.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. What? Where do I need to go look? Oh no, but does it stay like you?
It's all it stays out there. Yeah, you can go to the BCP Black Conservative Preacher. You can go. I'm CJTV Media.
I'll go back tonight and see how stupid I sounded.
You don't sound stupid. You had
no, man. You had
some. Hey, and dude, on a real note, I appreciate someone with like a logical standpoint that is actually involved in our community. Like you own a business.
Yeah.
Came and talked to us. Most of the people that come and talk to us.
I just came down to like. Actually, it happened because I was a smart ass. I just came to listen
it don't matter.
To this chick, and then dudes behind me were fucking like loaded up.
Yeah. The fact that you came and talked to us.
For real.
Most of the people that come and talk to us are pumped.
All right, bud.
What does it say to you? Black conservative preacher?
Yeah, CJTV, and then you can.
I wasn't sure if he was trying to give out that. It's beautiful down here, though, man. This is Lake Olympia, right? Isn't that what this is? Olympia Lake?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. Heritage Park.
Yeah, Heritage Park. You have the Capitol in the background over there, guys. So, hop in here and listen to some speeches. Trying to give you guys a view.
To be the voice of Washington children suffering as a consequence of COVID restrictions on education. Please welcome Melanie.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming out here and taking the time to listen to what everybody has to say. My name is Melanie, as you heard, I'm 13 years old and I'm in the 8th grade at Thomas Jefferson in Vancouver, Washington. I am the co-founder of Open Schools USA and I've been fighting to get schools open since August. Never in my life did I think I would have to be begging or fighting to go to school. Today marks an entire year of schools closing their doors to children. We've been forgotten and sacrificed over irrational fears of adults. Now, before I continue my speech, I would just like to tell you all that what I am going to talk about is a very sensitive topic about my own personal struggles, so expect my mom to tear up. I started fighting to open schools because of what it was doing to me. The isolation I was experiencing sent me into a deep depression. It took me to some really dark places. I moved from Oregon to Washington during the pandemic, so I knew no one. With schools being closed, I could not meet new friends for months. I did not get out of bed. There was no point. Nowhere to go, no one to see. I thought things would get better when I started at my new school, but they only got worse. I was staring at blank black screens all day. I thought I would at least get to see other kids, but no one turns on their cameras, so it was just more darkness for me. Things got so bad, I Googled the least painful way to kill yourself. I tried to drown myself in the bathtub. I have scars all up and down my thighs from self-harm. I'm not alone. There are millions of kids across the nation that have had these experiences this year and have harmed themselves or have attempted to take their life. There are many kids out there who are successful at taking their life. My friend T shot himself in the head in January. He had a 5% chance of survival, but he's a fighter like me. He is walking and talking, get to come home from the hospital this month. We have a mental health crisis with our youth. This is an emergency. And you need to start treating it like one and open our schools 5 days a week full time, because that's what we need.
That's right.
Absolutely.
5 days a week.
I have never been so disappointed by adults in my life. Adults are supposed to protect children, and the adults in charge completely failed to do this for us. Keeping our schools closed is harming so many children in ways a lot of people don't understand. Many children are starving right now because they are relying on 2 meals a day from school. Children are stuck in abusive homes, being harmed daily because of school shutdowns. Teachers are mandatory reporters for majority of reports of abuse to the Child Protective Services. Come from reports to Child Protective Services have drastically dropped this year. You cannot see these things from behind a screen. Keeping our schools closed is neglectful by definition, child abuse. I want Governor Inslee to hear that. He is playing a role in neglect and abuse of children. He shut the doors to our schools and he has the power to open them for 5 full days. Governor Inslee, to be a hero for once and fight for us. Fight to change the 6 feet distance restriction to 3 feet and mandate all schools open 5 days a week full time. I will not settle for hybrid. That's not real school. I will fight until all children across the nation are in school full time, 5 days a week. Our lives and childhoods have been stolen from us, and today I make a stand to take them back. Thank you to the parents and the community members who have supported me in my fight and joined forces with me to rightfully take back what is ours. Thank you.
Okay. Out of the mouth of babes, right?
Like I said, right there, you guys.
So
it's great to hear the voice of the youth
That's
here
it.
speaking
That's
up
so
on things
true.
that are currently happening right now.
I heard a story not too long ago about a child in a classroom, a Zoom classroom, with other students, and he shot himself in the head with his dad's pistol. How could you not have a heart for that? That's what these people have done to our country. They've done the worst to our children. And it'd be better for them to have a millstone around their neck.
That's right. We're gonna put it there too.
Our next guest is Dr. Churchill, grandson of Winston Churchill. He's an angel investor, a startup innovation master, and he is also a CEO of a house of tech startup, digital currency, ICOs, titled the American Angels. Dr. Churchill is now a public speaker, a leader in the Lincoln Party, not the project. That was a thing to derail him, so I just want to put that out there. And independent candidate for the U.S. Senate in 2017. On behalf of Washington State, hoping to be sent to the other Washington in order to accomplish a rather important job in Washington, D.C. The job of allowing the unfettered tech businesses, innovation, and the democratization of early stage startup to blossom and thus create many millions of new jobs, along with massive wealth and prosperity for our nation. Dr. Churchill is the chairman of the independent third party, the Lincoln Party, and he is also the president of Educational International Affairs think tank and a benevolent society, the Churchill Society. Please welcome Dr. Pano Kroko Churchill.
That's pageantry right there. My guy shows up with some real regalia.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. As you noticed, we couldn't go anywhere without bagpipes, giving a steel into our heart and putting some steel into our spine, some courage that we all deserve. As you're also courageous to be out here with me, and recall that there are better days ahead. I know we have suffered. I know we have been beaten. I know we have been kept down. However, there are better days ahead, and I'm here to give the good news, the news that need to cheer your heart, and to recall that as citizens, we are not subject to any other authority except our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our Declaration of Independence. So, without further ado, I will simply speak on a short speech out of my prepared remarks. Don't be scared. I shall not follow the letter. I shall just go through and help you to understand that we are here together, and the facts with which I shall deal this afternoon are mainly old and familiar. Yet there is something new and innovative in the general use of the facts. And this is what joins us together, because although there is novelty to the idea that none of us is any longer considered a slave or a subject to a king, to any tyrannical authority or any other institution, as citizens we ought to recall that we are subjects to the Declaration of Independence. I make a clear distinction between the Declaration and the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, because whereas the one is not a legal document, and I speak of the Declaration of Independence, it is actually the most important document that allowed us to become who we are. Citizens as opposed to subjects. It's a monumental difference. I am proud to call myself the American Churchill, only why I am a citizen and not subject to any queen or worse. So, as I see all of you understanding the important difference, we ought together to invest in a further understanding for the reason why we live here, and if need be, we die here to defend those ancient rights. And those rights are to enjoy liberty and the pursuit of happiness. As I hear you, you have asked me many times before to represent you, and I heed your call. Yet, every time when we are together, we have been attacked and viciously maligned by our enemies of freedom. So shall we come together again this time and rise up, as we need to protect each other, to protect our rights, and to defend the Republic for which many others before us have shed their blood. The reason for me, standing in front of you, is to wake up this ancient feeling, the feeling that made people seek liberty at the cost of death. As you know, famous people before us, they went to battle with a flag that said, "Give me liberty or give me death," and they meant it. We do not need to make such important sacrifice today. The only thing is enough to cast your vote, and cast your vote for a person that you think will represent this ancient principle, nothing less. And how do you distinguish between the people who are worthy of your vote or not? Is by simple conversation, in a civilized discourse, with loving kindness that will allow you to recognize those who want to keep us united versus ones who want to divide you so they can rule above you. It has been said by great ancient peoples that those who do not expose themselves to the electioneering, to the democratic elections, and to the vagaries of public office, they are led by people far inferior to themselves. So should we not be led by inferior people who have no track, no belief, and certainly no hesitation to take away your liberties, you ought to expose yourselves to the politics by involving yourselves in the school board, in any other elected position that will elevate you to the point of a leader within our communities. And this is why I was called here to speak, because I am unafraid to include myself in the voting rolls and to stand up and accept your vote at times when you ask me to represent you. It just so happens that in my family, in my blood, in my DNA, we have a little bit of that political thing running. You might have heard. It's some kind of a virus that cannot be defeated by inoculation against it. We are called to serve, and service is what we give. But they only call us to come, you know, when the things are difficult, and oftentimes when things are unstoppable. And then they say, okay, let's draft the Churchill now to see if he can take the chestnuts out of the fire, because the fire is too hot. Then we take it, you know, often foolishly, often with candor, and sometimes even with the necessity speaking upon us that if we don't do it, nobody else wants that awful job. And it is a bitter pill sometimes. You probably know, my grandfather, they tried to assassinate him 61 times. Not all of them from effing Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. There were some local crazy yahoos from England, they tried to kill him too. We have to be aware that there is a cost to public service, especially when you do something good and you earn the enmity of those powerful people and the sinister folks who seek to dominate you and to deprive you of your basic liberties. Now, thank God we are not facing, you know, the hordes of Adolf Hitler wanting to drive us into 1,000 years of misery, darkness and depression. But I think we were driven just, if I recall, until today into a depression lasting 365 days. And maybe a bit more or a bit less. And I think now we are coming out of it and shaking our head and saying, what was that all about? Because, as you all know, it seems that we've been punked.
That's right.
I think my good Scottish friends here, they will tell you you've been punked. And it's time to wake up. That's why, you know, with the benefit of the bagpipes that are so giving a heart to all of us, we can say that no more. We've woken up. Springtime is upon us. And let this be not the Ides of March, where awful things happen, but let it be the springtime, you know, into which you all rise up. I hear this is a common expression here, rise up, like the old folks. They've risen and they had a revolution by declaring their independence from Mother England. And all good things came to all of us. But we should not forget the tradition. And what England had given us, it was the basic natural rights as understood in the philosophy of Europe. Whether it was John Locke or whether it was any other person who actually spoke within the ancient Parliament of London, the Westminster, the whole of the Commons. That's been the most vibrant democracy for the last 1,000 years. and yet a democracy that is still curtailed by the power of a sovereign king or queen. And on this side of the water, on this side of the pond, we decided to be free of that and unfettered and become the kind of people that are led by a government of the people, by the people, and from the people.
Amen.
A government that shall not perish from this earth as long as you can keep it. And why would you not want to keep such a government here, alive and blossoming? Since it's the best system of self-governance the world has ever known, and look at what beautiful people it has produced.
Right?
Just look around you and say thank you to the person standing next to you.
Thank you.
Because I extend my thanks, and I say fist bump and maybe a hug if you're not afraid, and tell them that solidly standing together is all we expect from each other. Nothing more is required. Just stand with me as I stand with you. Together we are going to carry this sunny day into the future, because without that we've got nothing.
That's right.
The separation that has been dictated upon us, the division, the hate against each other, the looming civil war that's being advertised in all means and all places where the easily susceptible fall prey to, is exactly the evil that we need to observe against. Some great people, they said, you know, I know not who causes tears to my country, but I know how to repair the fabric of my nation. And I think I'm one of those old school folks who are afraid to say, I know how to repair the fabric of our nation, torn as it may be. This is what we all ought to do, this is what we need to engage in doing, and more or less this is what we are required of doing now and forever. You see, my words go to the wind. So, as I am speaking to you, impromptu, no notes taken away, I have to say that I am proud to be amongst you. I am proud to be one of you, and above all else, I'm the American Churchill, and that means a lot. My grandfather, all his life, he was a subject to a king and queen. In his long life in Parliament, more than 50 years, he was a great force. He delivered liberty for the whole Western world. I think the fact that we do not speak German today in this very country is due to my grandfather's, Winston Churchill's, courage. Courage, and courage alone was what helped him achieve this liberty. When everything was lost, when everything seemed improbably dark, and in the midst of the most difficult time the free nations of the world have faced, he stood up as one man alone for the first 2 years of the war, and then enjoying the friendship of the government of these United States, FDR and the people, and enjoying the friendship also of Stalin, Marshal Stalin on the other side, and enjoying the friendship of all the free nations who had signed up as allies. The Anzac forces, Australia, New Zealand, the Commonwealth of India and other 68 nations. We should not forget that none of us is alone in this great struggle against darkness. We always have allies that we might not be able to identify, but we are able to rely upon. I admit I don't know half your names. The people I have met, there are few and varied in between in this vast crowd. But I do know that the ones whom I do not know, they respect me as I respect them. And they are going to reach out to me as I reach out to you today and say, E pluribus unum. This is my only shield of protection. I'm not wearing a bulletproof vest, although I have been assassinated twice. Well, small beginnings until I get to 61 times like my grandfather. I've got ways to go. But I'm here because I feel your protection is far greater than mine. Anything you have to offer me is accepted. So I thrive being amongst you. And I know that victory will grace all of our efforts and all of our endeavors, because this enterprise of mine is not new. This enterprise of mine has started a long time ago, back in the 1700s, when people rose up and they said, I declare my independence. And that was the most powerful thing that the world had ever heard.
That's right.
Because there is nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come. And declaring our independence today from fear is what we ought to do. Should we be asked upon the world? Should we ask to be of service? And should we be asked to serve? I believe our time has come. No more division. Kindness, love, and the enthusiasm of unity is what will allow us to succeed and keep our republic, as many generations before us they have. Because people ask me, how come you expect this country that has fallen so low to be resurrected again and thrive? I say, well, give me a moment to think. It sounds like a very difficult question now, huh? Listen to me. If I have been able to resurrect myself from the last assassination attempt against me that left me broken in the head requiring brain surgery because I dared to give a speech like this inside the Microsoft headquarters in Haiti just a month after the 45th president was elected, a person who supported with 7.5 million votes of independence because you had seen the corruption. We've seen what they did to our friend Bernie Sanders, who had won the primaries of the Democratic Party, and then they just kicked him off to the curb. Shame. So we took out the other guy, you know, and he seemed to be at least honorable to do the one thing we agreed upon. No more foreign wars. We have enough things to do in our country to fix it up. Yep. We don't want to take our people, you know, in the freaking deserts, you know, Thailand, Afghanistan, or Syria, or Iraq, where the people have been killing each other for millennia without rancor, without principle, and ultimately without any particular cause. They're just loco in the head, you know, they can't stand each other. Money. And let's learn from that, because that's what they're trying to do to us, to get us into a division that you cannot stand each other. You can't be in the same elevator, you know, with another person, let alone if the person is from the other party. And both parties are complicit in this evil work. Both of them, it's not one. It's both of them. It takes two to tango. They are the same faces of the same coin on either side. Because that's how they can control the true citizens and deprive you of the rights that you have been feasted upon. That's right. Through the natural rights, through the godly free will, and certainly through the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. Yes! I know I'm not telling you anything new that you don't know, especially with my funny accent. You know, you probably want me to speak in French to you. And I use French, you know, but only for romantic purposes and for diplomacy across the world, but not here. I can do a pretty mean Texas accent if you want me to, just like John Wayne, you know. Put them up, Dukes, you know, and let's go fight. Fight is what we need to do, but not in the sense of John Wayne in the movies. We don't want to have a bar ball, but we're going to have a very educated, scientific effort at winning elections across the board. It does not matter the size of the office you seek, but it matters that you earn the right of citizen, which is ultimately to be responsible for the affairs of our country. And I want to be responsible to you, first of all, because you are fellow citizens, but most importantly, to the old creed, E pluribus unum. Out of many, we become one. And why did the founders, you know, these 39 men who signed on the Declaration of Independence, you know, unafraid of hanging? Because at that time, you know, anybody who signed that document was an enemy to the prevailing power. And yet they did. And they went on to fight. And before long, they had earned their independence. This is again what I'm fighting for, because I happen to believe, unusual as it might seem to most of you, that the revolution has not stopped. The revolution has not died. The revolution is ongoing. And it is you, and me, and several other people, well beyond the pale of this particular moment, that they are unafraid to say, we must carry on the struggle. We cannot allow darkness to come over us for long. And the struggle that I'm engaged in is the political struggle of democracy, hoping to be amongst those who truly believe government by the people, government for the people, and government from the people shall never perish from this earth, at least if we can help it. So this is what I demand of you as well. Stand with me as I stand with you, because this particular old axiom of having the best form of governance in the world, which is democracy, at the self-governing level, it is exactly what we seek to have if we are to survive as a nation. Because at the end of the day, regardless of divisions, regardless of these desperate attempts to cause us to harm each other, I do not believe for a moment that we are going to descend into a bloody civil war another time, having had the example of the last one, having remembered the bloodshed, the loss and the destruction that caused. And these are the people from the outside who caused the tears in the fabric of our country, and I aim to repair that with your help. You be the hands, that hold the needle and the fabric, and you sew it together. And that's what we need to do. Almost like needlepoint, that's all it takes. And it's easy enough that all of us can do it without very much effort. And you ask me, what do you speak of nation? You kind of look and sound almost foreign. Some people ask me, where have you been born? I have to tell them near the University of Western, my alma mater, and they say, I don't believe. I say, okay, try me. Ha ha ha. Does any of you, think that this nation is made up of what? Of imported plastic tchotchkes at Walmart? What is this nation made of? Of houses and buildings and this nice grass? No. What is the nation? What is the idea of a nation? The very definition of a nation, in my mind, is this continuation of principle of our existence with the things that we hold sacred, from the people who are long gone to the people that are yet to be born. Your children, my children, and their children. This is what this nation is all about. This unbroken line of principled individuals willing to lay it all on the line for what we believe to be true, the Declaration of Independence. How could I be anything else but an independent? I've been courted by those both political parties whom I consider evildoers many, many times. Come with us. Come with us. Whether it's the left or the right, the red or the blue or whatever other color, because they always want to control these, telling you that you could never be elected unless you fly under their own flag. And this is the basis of corruption and division. But I have friends here who always will tell you that should you choose to be an independent, you will win, because last I heard, maybe just as late as yesterday, 75%, 3/4 of all the people here, they are so tired and they want to be independent forever. Because this document that I referenced, the Declaration of Independence, it was actually the founding document of our country. The Constitution came later in order to legalize the framework of what we consider the government. However, it was the Declaration of Independence that allowed people to rise up. And I connect the two. There would be no rise up, there would be no revolution without the Declaration of Independence. Signed up by 39 people who were unafraid to give up their lives for the very cause of independence. So, how could I be anything else but an independent? In our politics, in our belief, in our government structures, and most important, in our lives. Benjamin Franklin famously said that who wants political parties when I can live in the paradise of independence? Washington, Jefferson, Adams, Madison, they all decried the rise of partisanship as to be the death knell of the Republic. You remember that? And does anybody remember Abraham Lincoln saying clearly, do not allow partisanship to destroy us? And he created a cabinet of rivals, people who came from different political parties, because he himself was an independent at the time. It was a new party he founded between the Whigs and the Southern Democrats. And by the grace of God, they split the main parties and they succeeded in gaining the leadership and preserving our country through the difficult times of the Civil War.
Yes. So I call upon you to do exactly what old Abe, my intellectual mentor, if you will, and call to your others, those others who are not in the same striped uniform as you might be, and invite them to a civilized discourse, to a dialogue, and giving them loving kindness, allow both of you to become independent. Because independence is a state of mind, more than anything else. To be independent of fear is what I hope and I ask of all of you today. And once you take that baptism of fire, you will be a true independent for the rest of your life, for the rest of the generations to come, as this nation was founded upon. Amen.
I call on you for independence of spirit, independence of your heart, and the independence of your belief to rise up with me and with each other and to say thank you and God bless you all. Keep in mind that together we can have a great country and you can do well together in this country. However, if separated, if divided, if conquered, we will die as slaves. And that I shall not allow.
That's right.
God bless you all. Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Churchill, and a lot of you want to convince me to run for the United States Senate on behalf of our particular state. Would you want me to?
Yes.
Tell me.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You want me to run, represent you as an independent? Yes. Will you stand with me? Yes. We go together. Go to the other Washington to just be there as independent witnesses and to effect change. Will you stand with me? Will you come with me? I promise you all together we can fit in a big bus and we'll get there.
Yes! Woo!
I hear you, and I say God bless you, and I shall follow your advice, and I will have the piper, lead us on a goodbye and a solemn prayer.
Run, Churchill, run!
Thank you.
Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run!
Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run! Run, Churchill, run! Run, run, run!
My guy knows how to put on a show.
I did it on live stream. He did, or he did put it on my personal. I did share your mistakes. What's that? I shared your mistakes. Thanks, Melanie, for being
That's what I'm saying, Ryan.
God bless. Thank you.
Okay, one more round of applause for Dr. Churchill, please. So we are riseup.wa.org, and we champion causes, not personalities, and not other entities, not special interests. You, me, That's our interest. With that said, I'm going to give it to Michelle Darnell again to close up.
Thank you so much. So did you all have a good time today? Do you feel inspired? Oh, that wasn't loud enough. That was pretty darn weak. Do you feel inspired? Are you going to rise up? Rise up! Rise up! Okay, so that's what we're all about here today. I hope the speakers today, our lineup, has inspired you to go home to your community and find out what you can do in your community. That might be volunteering. It might be volunteering for a candidate running for office in 2021. And let me tell you, a lot of times voters and the general public doesn't pay much attention to campaigns until every 4 years. We have a presidential election. I happen to believe that 80% of your attention, your political time, your political resources, your political attention, 80% should be focused on your local community and your state. 20%, you can go ahead and have your cake and ice cream and cotton candy. That's the federal stuff. We have got to build a bench here in Washington State at the local level if we ever hope to change things in D.C. So that starts in 2021. As I mentioned before, King County has 314 open seats, everything from, park board all the way up to city council, school board, so on and so forth. Our organization, Ignite Foundation LLC, we provide we recruit, I'm tired. We recruit, we train, we provide resources, and we equip candidates. Rise Up Washington is for our activists. We recruit, train, and provide support services for our activists. Marlisa, did I lose you? I wanted to make mention of some of the stuff that we offer. You can go to our website, ignitefoundationllc.com or riseupwa.org. And what can we find on the website?
For anybody who's interested in running for office or interested in politics and the dates of things when initiatives come out and all that, we've designed a really awesome calendar here that's got all the political dates for everything. Special elections, filing dates, initiative dates, when they have to be in, or primaries, special elections, all that stuff for anything and all of it in the state. And inspirational quotes at the top, and it's an invaluable tool. I ran for office last year in 2020 for state legislature. I didn't win, but a tool like this would have been amazing, because we didn't know, when did the military ballots drop? You need to know those kinds of things, and they don't give you that information. So, $16 for a beautiful calendar. That's an amazing tool, and I hope that a number of you, we got some people on contact list today. We'll be reaching out and encouraging anybody who feels that they've got the gumption to do so. Run for office. Run for school board, run for a sewer district, run for water district. All those positions are really important. So, we also have to raise funds and get the word out about Rise and Ignite. We have some awesome t-shirts, $22 a piece. That helps to support the organizations, and which will in turn help to support candidates. We have inspirational quotes on them, and I think they're pretty awesome. Can you read that one, Michelle?
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Ronald Reagan. Another reason we offer shirts, calendars, that sort of thing is because we need to change the conversation in this country right now. We need to change it from the partisan rhetoric to actual, quotes of inspiration, solutions-oriented conversation. So that's one of the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to change the conversation and take it in a different direction. Anything else, Marlisa? Well, I think I already mentioned that. And you know, just to summarize, we provide campaign support services. You can go to our website to find out. I have run personally myself as a third-party candidate twice. I will tell you, running a campaign, not to scare you all off because I want you to run, is like launching a startup with no venture capital and running it into IPO or bankruptcy in less than a year. So that's why we are building what we're building. We want to give tools, we call it Candidate in a Box. Everything you need to launch your campaign rapidly, if you happen to be what I call a lunchbox candidate, which is most of us. So with that, I'm going to close things down here. Thank you again for coming out today. Follow us on our website, on our social media, and remember to go home and rise up.
Appreciate all the speakers today, giving us
Everybody please come together, we have a big picture, one photograph. Come on, all together by the flag. Everybody, come inside.
Jerry. Love you guys. Shout out to CJ. Give him a follow. Follow his page. CJ's the man. I gotta get some water anyway, so it's a good opportunity to get my bag. Put my coat on. hilarious trick.
Leave it at 100%.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
All about. I am the merchant of hope. That's the only thing I'm selling. A very expensive commodity. But the kind of commodity that we all need now. So come and get some hope. Expect greatness, nothing less. God bless you. Done it.
So this generator?
Very peaceful.
It's his.
Very informative discussions happening with people. Dialogue being opened up on both sides. Awesome. Kimberly. Hello. Nice to see you.
We just bought one.
I thought that was you.
I need one for my motorhome. Those Hondas are real quiet, but they're real fucking expensive. I think I'd do like a 3,500 for my motorhome.
I was just waiting for CJ to show my bag set up. He's kind of in a conversation right now.
Okay, well, one of you guys take some pictures of Churchill and
Obviously, I've failed at it a couple times.
well, I will tell you the problem with taking a picture
I took the wife with the son. If they want to flip around, they try to get the. Well, they might have been. Coming through. Is there anything I can do to help you guys? I'm just on the So the oh, you're good.
You were streamlining Seattle.
Yeah.
I followed you a lot.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's where it all started for me. It's back in the early days of the shop.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Let me
I'll show you.
wrap my feet up here real quick. And what are you doing after this? You good?
We're just hanging out. We're gonna go grab a beer.
I think that's what we're gonna do too. I was talking to BCP. Thinking about grabbing some food.
Let's
You
do
guys want
it.
to come with?
Let's do it.
I gotta get back to my daughter.
There's a couple spots over
We
here.
need to talk to them. You need to call me. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh,
She
man.
said, you almost caught a hot one on that one. She said, you better get your hands off me. Get your damn hands off me. Where are you looking? Give me that monopark. I'm parked on the other side, at the end of the parking lot over there. I'll see if I can go grab my car and get over there in a minute. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna drop myself there. Like I say, let's. Yeah, you have to go, man. So we can hang out and talk a little more about things that are happening. Let me call my wife and see what the situation is. Yeah, find out. So, if you can, I mean, like, so I guess we got a couple people that are going. Hey, man. Hey, good. Tom. What's your name? CJ. Nice to meet you. Sharp, my man. Sharp. Absolutely. You put all this together today, right? Is that you that put this together?
Well, I helped organize the one we did up there for the two-way rally.
Gotcha. All right.
I just kind of hung around for this.
Okay. Yeah.
So were you like streaming here?
Yeah. I do a little show called CJTV.
Okay, what platform?
Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I'm on there. So
Okay. Yeah, just CJTV Media.
Yep.
Yeah, but yes, that's what
I went down there by myself.
Did you?
All by myself. I was like, oh man.
Really? Yes.
I was like, hey, these are fucking demons.
It got bad.
Yes, it did.
Things changed a lot.
Well, I went down there. I walked through the crowd and everything, and I went down there not looking like you could tell what side I was on or anything. I was different clothing. New face. Wait a minute, and so they're getting my face, doing this, it's like, okay, I got you. I know what you're doing.
Things got tough.
And then I had parked 3 blocks down the hill, and I'm like, about 45 minutes, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. So I'm walking down the hill, I got to about the 2nd block, and there was an older couple, they got in their 80s, and they had a little dog with them. this guy doing down here?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I kept walking. I was about 40 yards away, and all of a sudden I hear the lady yelling. Turn back around, and her husband, which is like smaller than me, a little frail old man, he was stepped in front of her to try to protect her. Next thing you know, they took a hold of him, they were body slamming him and everything. And I immediately came right back into it. I'm trying to, you know, protect them, and I'm getting hit in the fucking head and shit. And there's a tall apartment building, and there's all these windows up here, and they're screaming, "Target, target," throwing shit at me and everything. I mean, I got outnumbered bad.
And how far back was that? How long ago was that? That was like in the early days of it all?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. And so at the bottom of the hill, there was 2 officers. And I mean, I'm bleeding and everything. I ran down there because, you know, I wanted to save them, but, you know, I got outnumbered. And they said, we'll beat your fucking head in, da-da-da, you know.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And they told me they couldn't do anything. They couldn't leave their post.
Nope.
And all I could do, all I could hear is their little dog yelping. It was horrible.
That's terrible.
Horrible.
That's terrible. Well, I'm glad you're okay now. I'm glad you're okay now.
Yeah.
She's still broken. Still broken. Never recovered.
I use those broken parts to my advantage, though, now.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it right now. So thanks for tuning in. Sorry, I'm still live. I got to say goodbye to everybody here.
Oh, great. So
You're
they
good.
just heard all.
No, yeah. Hey, you know, story. Hey, it's a story of our current anthropology, right?
One of us.
Story of the world as it's happening.
Anyway, so.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. No, it's on me. It's on me right now. So,
Like, oh yeah, we know this bitch.
yeah, right. If they don't, they do now. Oh, thank you very much.
No, not April 3rd. We're going to boycott. We're going to close our bank account with Bank of America, but the Patriot Party is the 27th.
27th? It says April 3rd.
No, April 3rd, that's the second event. There's 2 of them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I camped the 27th.
Yeah, it's a gathering that we do
He's got
every month.
a big Furby convention he's going to.
Yeah.
Goddamn right.
Where? You're not going to be there?
So explain that one. Explain that one to her. I'll be right back. So, sorry, I'm just doing my rap here real quick. But, so what was going on today was Brandon bailed on me today, actually. Yeah, this morning, bailed on me. So we had, there was a 2A rally up top by the Capitol. Then, of course, they had this one was talking about in the lockdown, but they were talking a little bit more in detail about the youth. And the youth speaker was really fantastic. 13-year-old that has a strong voice, and I love to see that we have young people that are willing to step forward and stand up and tell the current story of what's happening right now. And it's a situation that needs to be addressed, and I love that the younger people are starting to get more aware of their voice and being, feeling safe and comfortable sharing that. So we're gonna grab lunch, a couple of guys here, and probably back on later on this evening. We'll see what's going on, but appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, usually when we do these kind of rallies and people are just giving speeches, I try not to talk too much, let them have their time to share their feelings and their thoughts. So I got the information for Dr. Churchill, who's Winston Churchill's grandson. I'm going to be reaching out to him, setting up an interview, and we'll have a chance to kind of talk to him a little bit greater detail about some stuff happening in the world right now and his current political stance, some of the things he's trying to accomplish. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, if Kat's live right now, you guys go ahead and raid Kat. Kat Veer, I think that's Kappa, right? Who is, I thought, here, but maybe she's not. I don't know where she's at. But if you guys want to go ahead and on Twitch, if you guys want to raid, I believe Kat VIR or Kate VIR or the posing or Kate Veer or Hello Kappa, I believe, Kappa. I think there's another one. So check her out, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I might be back on later on, but I appreciate you guys for being a part of the stream today and for keeping it chill in the community. Love you guys. Take care.